Or no doubt about that. I'm not trying to undercut that. That hurt. Like not finishing out the season, but like I can separate what we do on the floor and who we are as a human being. And I know you got your own situation that has nothing to do with what we doing. You know what I'm saying? You got to move how you got to move for the best, for the betterment of you. So I get that part of it. Like I probably wouldn't have understood that 7, 8 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through my situations with moving teams and and, and feeling like I needed a new situation. So I'm like, I've been through it all, so I can understand your viewpoint on that, and I can still be upset that we didn't finish the job, but like, yeah, cool with me.
Katie loves a beanie. Like he loves a beanie. I mean, I get why, but like man loves a beanie. Go ahead. Sorry.
So that was Kevin Durant talking about the ending of him and Kyrie in Brooklyn, Vince. He also said in that interview that he and Kyrie haven't had time to really talk yet, but he understands the situation. And I like, my initial thought when I first heard that was, well, what else can you say? I mean, you sort of did the same exact thing to Russell Westbrook, right? So you have to be understanding of the situation. But that being said, he's on to greener maybe pastures in Phoenix. So I'm just curious your thoughts on what he had to say in that video. And then I want to talk about Katie because you were going to be in the building for his return tonight and first
Vince,
game in Phoenix.
Vince, before you answer that, you can tell that Nat is a Warriors fan who is judging the hell out of Kevin Durant. There was so much passive aggressiveness and judgment in that whole summary. My goodness, Warriors fans will not let this man live his life.
There's a Beyonce song that I don't know the lyrics to. I think it's called Resentment, and I feel like that's what Nat has for KD. My goodness, I can feel the heat all the way over there.
I think y'all are grossly exaggerating, but go ahead.
It's more judgment than resentment.
Good grief. And Ashley, to your point about KD wearing a beanie, if I had hair like that, I'd wear a beanie every chance I got, including on the floor.
And you talking about me. Do you hear these shots being fired?
That's a shot. That's a shot. That's not resentment or anything like that. That's just jokes. Now, to your point about Kevin Durant and Kyrie, it's a little bit different than Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant's contract was up, and then he decided, hey, I don't feel like playing here anymore. That's different than Kyrie in Brooklyn not really being able to come to terms on a contract extension, and then Kyrie saying, get me up out of here. But if we're going to talk about Kevin Durant just period, aren't we all a little bit excited to see what this looks like? Maybe not Natalie, right? I get it, Natalie. You probably wouldn't be excited to see what this looks like, but this would be actually Natalie's dream.
I'm interested.
If the Phoenix Suns failed with Kevin Durant and Chris Paul on the same team, she wouldn't show up to work the next day because she would be there at midnight.
I'm definitely interested for sure.
On that point, though, Vince, we're hearing this conversation a lot. If Kevin Durant and the Suns fail, is it championship or bust? Are the expectations a little bit high this soon? I mean, there's less than 20 games left in the season. This is a 34-year-old player coming off of an MCL injury. You don't really know, obviously he's cleared to play, but the body is what the body is. And sometimes it takes you a little while to get acclimated. These are also guys who have not played together. Yes, you can talk Team USA, but they have not played together as a unit for a season or for part of a season or into the playoffs. So this season, I feel like championship or bust or failure, all those words are a little bit extreme. I don't know if we can really have that conversation until next season when these guys have an entire NBA season to really play, to really gel. And then I feel like that conversation can happen. Where do you stand on that argument?
There's a love song or a terrible love song with terrible lyrics. I'm not sure if you're familiar with its work. It's Jagged Edge called Let's Get Married.
Oh,
and
Lord.
The basic premise of the song is, we ain't getting no younger, might as well do this. Last I checked, Chris Paul's going to be 38 in May, which means next May he's going to be 39. And if Kevin Durant is old-ish now and getting hurt-ish now, you kind of want to take care of business this year. Here's the other thing. There's nobody in the Western Conference that should scare anybody. Like, that's the gift and the curse of the West so far, is that it's really deep in mediocrity. There's a whole bunch of mid in the Western Conference. Like,
oh yeah,
absolutely. Everybody has a fatal flaw in the Western Conference. Even Denver, who's running away with it. Even Sacramento, who I think people are really kind of overlooking. They're saying, yeah, let's get to the 3-6, and you excuse me. Excuse my French. And you mess around and get popped, right? I almost let something slip out of I got a little too comfortable. But no, I do think
it's
that
okay.
for Phoenix,
it's streaming.
Vincent, you were on the show when I did it, so you know.
The standard is higher for some more than others, Natalie. But no, if I'm Phoenix, this is championship or bust. Like, when you have what I consider to be the baddest man on the planet, and you lost the last time you went to the finals because you didn't have someone to match up with Giannis. Now you have your own nuclear weapon, a completely different team, mind you. No Cam Johnson, no Mikal Bridges, that type of situation. But you have no reason not to get to June now. Like, the expectations are there. You don't acquire Kevin Durant to say, hey, we're going to get to the second round this year, and next year we're going to make a run for it. You look at it and say, there is no reason why we shouldn't make it to the finals this year. Not a Golden State, not a Denver, not a Memphis. Nobody should scare this Phoenix Suns team. And you went from a team that rises and failed basically under Chris Paul to now Kevin Durant raising your ceiling. The expectation should be finals, if not championship.
Okay, well, first of all, he's not the baddest man. That's part of the problem. We keep describing him as that, and that's why that's why the results keep happening. Secondly, trust me, the Suns and many of those teams don't want to see the Warriors. So you can say they shouldn't want to fear them, but they don't want to see them. And third, I'm just going to revisit something, because when I say a situation is analogous, it is analogous to Russ. I'm going back there because I'm petty, in that he did not take the time to talk to his teammate of several years before making his decision. So I'm not ever criticizing him for making a decision in free agency. I want to be clear when you throw out these things that you think I'm doing. I support free agency. I support all of his decisions, but he did not talk to his teammate. There was a reason why Russ was so angry with him. And so I just find it interesting that, he left, Kyrie left, and that he and Kevin Durant didn't talk about it. But now, going back to Kevin Durant, I agree that there are expectations for this season. And I agree with basically all of Vince's reasoning, because, he keeps getting hurt. Like, I think Chris Paul, the Suns are looking to maybe move him after this season, right? Those were like the early reports. So, I mean, you got to win at some point. If you don't do it this year, then what? Who knows what the teams are going to look like after this season in the West.
Fair. Obviously the expectations are there when you have on your team Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And name alone, there comes expectations. And we've seen that across the league, and we've seen that for many seasons. Now, whether those expectations are realistic or not is a different conversation. I feel like it's more realistic to have those expectations for a team like the Warriors, who have been there before, who are coming off of a championship last season. Same group of guys, same continuity, same chemistry. Yes, they've dealt with ups and downs, trials and tribulations. Same thing in Boston. Same group of guys. Yeah, you lost your head coach, but that hasn't stopped you. Same thing in Milwaukee. I think once you start moving players and you're implementing new chemistry into the conversation, I feel, and you're also implementing a 34-year-old player coming off of another major injury, an injury he sustained last season or the season before last. I think there always has to be a level of, yes, the expectations are the expectations, but we may be putting the carriage before the horse in a lot of those expectations. And I feel like this season is not championship or bust for the Suns just yet. We can talk about that come, September, October of next year or next season for sure, though.
All valid points, but I'm not giving him that pass. Maybe Vincent will.
Tell that to that owner that paid $4 billion for it, and then on the first day he said, "Go get me Kevin Durant," because he was thinking about next September. That's what he was thinking about, next September. And to your point, Ash, you could be all the logic that you're saying could very well be true. It could all be fair. But this ain't a fair world that we live in. And this ain't a fair NBA that we've always operated in. I have higher expectations for the Phoenix Suns than I do the Golden State Warriors. Like, Phoenix has at least won
You're
6 straight
bad.
games this year.
Ooh.
No, look,
Ooh.
lies don't
The
care who
Warriors
telling
are
them.
coming
Neither
off
do the
of
truth.
the Warriors are coming off of a championship. What are we talking about?
Let them. It's okay,
And?
Ashley. Let them. Let
And?
them. Because it'll be the same
They're
nonsense.
500.
Okay. No, they're not actually anymore. But I'm curious about the rest of the West because all these trades happened.
I'm good in the West.
Yes, all these trades happened. You know, we had Ja, who's making news today. Not good news, but he said he's good in the West. We had all the, Luka, Kyrie, no one's going to be able to stop them. They've won 1 game together as a pairing when they're both on the court. So not since Kyrie came, but when the 2 of them are on the court, they've won 1 out of 4 games. We'll see what happens with the Suns, though. Ashley's giving them some built-in excuses here to start. So, I mean, what's going on with all these trades? I heard all this stuff about the West. Y'all done let the Warriors play around all this time, and now they're 1 game out of 4th, and none of these teams create a separation. Talk to me about the West, Vincent.
I mean, the Warriors are playing much better, you know, considering Steph is on the man and Clay had a really good January and February, right? I still have questions. I still need to see consistency beyond where the champions and that sweat equity is going to carry over, because a lot of those pieces that helped them win a championship last year aren't there this year. Now, granted,
Only 1.
Kuminga looking good. Jordan Poole is starting to figure some things out. Besides some of those, you know, cringy threes that he takes on the break, like he's Steph Curry, right? But beyond that, if you're the Clippers, if you're the Warriors, if you're the Suns, you're not looking at any team in the Western Conference and saying there's fear. Put it like this, Nat. You may think that people should fear the Warriors. I don't think they should. They should be aware of them, right? But I don't think the Warriors should fear anybody either. I don't think they walk into a 7-game series, home court or not, whether it's Memphis or Denver or anybody else above them, feeling like they can't steal a game on another team's home floor if they are healthy. But you haven't been healthy en masse all season. So that's kind of a tough thing to figure out. Maybe Steph comes back next week and he's a little bit more rested and he can do this push from now until June. But if you have trouble winning 4 straight games, I have a hard time seeing you win 4 straight series.
Vincent, I just want to say before we let you go, I'm getting a little deja vu because I remember a lot of people saying the same things about the Warriors last season, and I kept telling them you can't count out championship DNA. Everyone said I was crazy. They're not going to win it. They're not going to win it. And last time I checked, the Bay had a championship parade. So I'm just saying, this sounds a lot like history repeating itself. You can't count. You cannot just credit a heart of a champion, and they have championship DNA.
That sounds nice. Heart of a champion. That sounds beautiful. Rudy T, all that stuff, right? But the difference between last year's Warriors and this year's Warriors, and last year's Warriors I picked to come out of the West. So I'm with you. But the difference was that team got off to such a great start that they had a cushion to rely on. I think they started off 18-3, and they played 500 basketball for the most part for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
But they had sweat equity in that season of knowing when we want to turn it on as a group for a week or 2 weeks or a month, we can figure some things out. And like every other champion, they got lucky. And that's not a shot to them, but they got some circumstances that worked in their favor. Like every
low-key hater, Ash. He's a low-key hater.
Here's the thing. I said like every other champion. Did I not say that?
Did you see what Steph Curry did in Game 6? Get out of here. They got lucky. Were you watching the same finals?
Then come back on Women's Wednesday.
Everybody gets lucky.
We want you back.
Were you Michael Jackson? I want you back. I get it. I'm always wanted back. That ain't nothing new.
He's naming all these songs. It's insanity. I can't.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.